This conference will now be recorded.
So in yesterday's class, we have seen about your variables. So let me open that. We have started seeing we have seen your data declarations. We have seen the data declarations. And so in that data declarations, how many things we do have? Variables, structures, and internal tables. So these are the major three things which you will be having in your data declarations. And we have to create the data declarations in two ways. One is your global and one is your local. I told you how to create with what is a global and what is a local. And then we have seen the variables, how to create a variables, and how to pass the data to the variables and how to display the data to the variables. So this is what we have seen in your yesterday's class. In today's class, we are going to see something called as your arithmetic calculations. Arithmetic calculations. So what are the types of, we can do here your sum, subtraction, multiplications, and you can do your division. So everything is possible in SAP. If I want to do, I need to use a symbol called as plus. And if I want to do a subtraction, I need to use a symbol called as minus. If I want to use a multiplication, then I need to use a symbol called as asterisk. And if I want to use a division, then I need to use a symbol called as backslash. So backslash. So this is the symbols which we are going to use and we are going to create our arithmetic calculations. Now let's see an example program for this. So let me log on to our SAP system. Before we go ahead with that, so tomorrow maybe your class will start at 10 o'clock. So please see your message at 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. In 10 a.m. you will be getting a message if you have a class at 10 o'clock. Okay. So the class will be extended to 2 hours. So 10 to 12 o'clock. 10 to 12 o'clock. If it is 10:30, then it will be 10:30 to 12:30. 2 hours session will be there. And if you are okay, I'll be taking a tomorrow afternoon session also for 2 hours. So do let me know if you are okay with that. Ping me on the WhatsApp if you are okay. So I'll be taking a class at 2 o'clock to 3:30 or 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Okay. So do ping me if you are okay with that. So for tomorrow afternoon session. Okay. So let me log on to my SAP system and I'll be taking this as welcome 123. So why I was telling you this? Because we are already delayed almost like close to 6 hours. So to compensate that 6 hours, so I'm going to take this sessions. So tomorrow 2 hours and tomorrow afternoon, if you are interested, I'll be taking 2 hour session and Sunday also 2 hour session. Sunday also 2 hour session I'll be taking for you. But that too if you are interested. So that too if you are interested for tomorrow afternoon session. Okay. So now let me go to SC38. So I'm going to take ZR 1030. ZR 1030 underscore. I'll take this as arithmetic calculations. Calculations. I'll just go ahead and click on create. So calculations. Now I'll be taking this as executable program. Click on save. I'll go ahead and save that in your package as well as in your TR. Now, what is the first thing? So the first thing is, so whenever you want to do any arithmetic calculations, you can simply say write directly also you can do it. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus and you can say this as 7 8 9 6 7. So like this you can do it, but you can't, you can't able to do it with the help of your write statement directly. You can't, sorry, My bad, I say you can, but you can't able to do it directly with the help of like this. So in order to do your arithmetic calculations, to do the arithmetic calculations, we need a variable to store the values. We need a variable to store the values. So how can you do that? So that means we need to declare our data. So I'm going to do a data declarations. Guys, commentings are most important. We have to do comment. We have to write comments. So when I'm writing the data declarations, I'm saying that data declarations. When I'm doing the logic, I'll be saying that main logic like that. When I'm displaying, I say displaying of your data. I'm putting the comments. So when you're practicing the programming, you also need to keep your comments. Comments are the most important things. Remember that. Comments are the most important things. So now data declarations, I'll be saying this as data gv underscore. I'll take this as numc numericals, and I'll be taking or gv underscore variable type. I'll be taking this as numc 10. I'm going to take this as numc 10. Now main logic. One second, guys. Main logic. So now this main logic. What is this main logic? So here I have to do addition. So how you have to do it? So you can directly say gv underscore variable is equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6 plus and 9876543. That's it. Now once you have done this, I'm going to say display the data. Display the data, and then I'll just say gv underscore variable. gv underscore variable. Now I'll just go to pretty printer and I'll say activate this one. Now when I say activate, when I click on execute, it will do the summation and it will see here the leading zeros has came up. Why the leading zeros has came up? Because you have taken it as numc 10. So that's the reason it has shown you as the leading zeros. So zeros will be provided. Now, when I do a subtraction, so now if I go to my calc, let me open my calc. Now, if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minus 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 is equal to, so this is the value I'm going to expect in the output. Now, if I take this as minus, now if you see here, let me activate this one. Now, if I click on execute, see here, you are not getting your minus symbol. Why you are not getting your minus symbol? Someone can tell me? What is the reason behind SAP is not populating the minus symbol? What is the reason? By seeing this code, can you tell me why it has not populated the minus, the negative symbol? Just give me 1 minute, guys. By seeing the code, tell me. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, tell me, guys, why you are not seeing a negative symbol? By seeing this, you have to tell me the answer. Why? What is the reason behind the negative symbol is not populating? Tell me. No idea? It's okay. If you doesn't know, say it as no, but don't place your blank. Don't say it as blank.
No idea, Ravi.
No idea,
No,
sir.
sir.
So see, what is the data type we have taken? NumC.
Numsy.
So which is a numerical, so which will holds only the positive values. Numericals will holds only the positive values. It won't hold the negative values. So num so it's a positive numbers. So it can't able to have the negatives. In order to store the negatives, so either you have to use your integer. So I'm going to use, let's say, int4, integer 4, which is having minus 34,000 some change to plus 34,000 some change. The value will be there. Now, if I say activate this one, now it can hold the negative value. See here, now it is showing your negative value. So that's how. So what type of a calculations you are going to take? So based on that, you have to take your data type. What type of a calculations you are going to do? Now you can ask me, do you have any generic data type that we can use it? That I'll be telling you now. Okay. Now in case of multiplication, if I say this as star and if I say activate, and now when I click on execute, it will be showing you the output. But why the number has been overflowed? Because we have taken the integer 4. So now the integer 4, it will holds from this value to this value. But our value is greater than that value. So that's the reason it can't able to hold that much of a value. So this is your runtime error. So that's we will be calling it as ABAP dumps. So don't get panic when you see your ABAP terms. So you just go ahead and read what is the issue. What is the issue? So in the error analysis, they will be saying this as an exception has been occurred. So in the class ELSY arithmetic overflow, as the exception was. So in the current program, multiplying of this number using this multiply operator, the return value is greater than or less than or smaller than this one or smaller than this one. So you have to use integer 8. See here, they have provided the solution also. So most of the runtime errors, what you are getting, so SAP will provide you the SAP will provide you the error analysis. So what you have to be done. If you doesn't know, just take this and open your Google and paste it over here, and it will give you some of the things. While running a Z program, I throw this an error. So what is this error? You can get this so many things. You can get so many things. So this is the one, the link which we will be using. So answers.sap.com. So now here I'm going to get this. So what is the error? So here he is doing some arithmetic calculations. So which is the field, the conversion problem here. So there is a conversion problem like that. You will be getting your solutions also. So you have to find out your right solution and you have to provide it. Now if I go here and if I go to SE38, now when I open this into change mode, so instead of 4, I will be giving it as 8. Now if I say activate this one, and now when I click on execute, now see here, it has shown me your output. It has shown me your output. Now let's take this as division. Let's take this as division. So now what is the value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So what is the output value? We have to get 0.0124 or 0.0125 or 0.013. 13 or 125. 125 is the value I have to get it. Now, when I say this as activate, now it is showing it as 0 only. Why it is not showing the decimals? Because the same thing, you have used the integer. You have used the integer. You have used the integer. So because you have used the integer, integer will store negative values and positive values only, but it doesn't store the fraction values. It doesn't store the fraction values. In order to store your fraction values, you have to use decimal, length. Let's take this as fixed, and decimals 2. Now let me do a pretty printer and let's check this whether it is going to be taken it out. So length can be, okay. Okay, so with type P, so I'm going to take a type P, and the length I'm going to take this as 10 and decimals 2. Now when I check this, you won't be getting any error. So now the decimals you have to provide it as type P. Now when I say activate this one, and when I click on execute, you can see here. So you have taken how much length? So 2 decimals. 2 decimals. If I take this as decimal 4, now if you see activate 0.125. So 0. I told you. So what is that length? If I open my calculator, I have closed this. Okay. So I have closed the calculator. So it's 0.1249. So if I take this as decimal 5, now you can see activate this one. And now if I click on execute, so 0.50. So like this, you will be going to get your value. So whether you have, so what type, which thing you are going to do it, so that declaration you have to provide. But instead you can use a generic. So let's say character 10. Now I'll go ahead and activate this one, because character will support everything. See here, now you're getting your exact value. Now you're going to get your exact value. Now either you can use your numsies, data integers, or decimals, or anything whatever you want. But instead of that, if you use a generic character, because character will support. So if I take this as minus, and if I say activate, and if I say click on execute, now you can see here the negative value is coming up. So it will show you, characters will allow you the special characters, the numbers, the alphabeticals. So everything can be populated in your character. So this is your special character. At the last minus symbol it is showing is as your special character, and it is allowing you the numbers. So everything it will be allow you. Everything it will be allow you. So usually when we are doing these calculations, mostly I will be preferring with my characters only. But what type of an addition you are going to do? So let's say, for example, divided by 0. If you are going to do it divided by 0, what is the value? What is the value divided by 0? What is the value?
0.
0 divided by 0 is
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You are
Wait.
very weak at mathematics. Sorry to say this. The answer to this is infinity. So anything divided by 0 is an infinity. So we can't able to judge that value. So here
We
also,
can't divide by 0, I think.
right, we can't able to divide it by 0. So
0.
now if I say click on execute, you will be getting a error saying that CXSY divided by 0. So this is a runtime error. How can you avoid this runtime error? How can you avoid this? So in order to avoid this runtime error, usually when you are doing a division, so what we will be doing, we will be writing in the form of try catch. So try, so we'll be writing in the form of try catch, and then you'll be providing the exception, and you'll be saying this as end try. So now it will go ahead and try this. So if it is going to an error, so what is that error? It is going to catch that error. So this is the try catch. So we have to use your try catch when you are doing your division, or when you are doing your multiplication if you are taking an integer, so that it can avoid your runtime error. So if I say activate this one, if I click on execute, you can't see no output. Output will not show you, but so the runtime error we can avoid it. We can avoid your runtime errors. We can avoid your runtime errors. Start you can able to do it. We can able to avoid your runtime errors. So with the help of your try catch. Okay, so this you have to know it. So instead of, so in the same way, what we have taken int 4, INT4, and then you have taken into 9876543. Now if I say this as check this, no issues, and activate. Now if I say click on execute, it will go for a dump. Now you have to take this catch, you have to take this, and you'll go to /SC38 and go to change mode, and you have to say again the catch, and you have to flow this error message too. Now if I say click on check, no issues, and activate this one, and just say click on execute, see here the answer is 0. So now you can avoid your runtime errors. So that you can able to do it with the help of your try catch. Try catch. So this is what your arithmetic calculations is all about. Okay, the output is. Okay, now Now my requirement is as of now. So if you want, you can also use variables also. Let's take this as character 10. So now I'll be taking this as CV underscore variable 1 type char5. So I'm going to take this as char5 and GV underscore variable 2 type and I'll take this as char5. Now what I will do, I'll pass the logic over here. So what I will do, GV underscore variable 1 is equal to, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, and I will take this as GV underscore variable 2 is equal to, let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. Now you can say GV underscore variable is equal to GV underscore variable 1 plus GV underscore variable 2. So like this also you can do it. So now when I say click on check, no issues. Now if you say activate, and the answer will be gets provided for you. Now, as if for the same variables, so you're passing the same value. If you are having the same kind of requirement, let's say, so if you're having the same kind of requirement for both the variables, I have to pass the same value. You can say this GV underscore variable 2 is equal to. Now for all these values, it will be the same. Sorry. So for GV variable 1 and GV variable 2, it will update with the same value. You don't need to write multiple statement. You can go ahead and write with one single statement. If I say by keeping a debugger over here, let me click on execute. And now if I take this as GV underscore variable 1, I'm going to desktop 3 and GV underscore variable 2. If I say F5, now see here, both the values has been populated automatically. Both the values has been populated automatically. Now if I say F5 and then GV underscore variable, it will do your sum. It will do your sum and it will show you your output. Now in the output, as we are taking a characters, it is showing you a blank spaces. I want to remove this blank spaces. So I want to remove this. So in order to remove the blank spaces between the value, so to remove the blank spaces, to remove the leading spaces, I would say, leading blank spaces, we need to use a command or a syntax called as condense. So condense is the word which will use to remove the leading spaces. Now if I go ahead and say condense, so now if you see here, you are getting this when we are typing this at the top, you are getting this value, you are getting this. So just say tab. So tab, it will autofill. You don't need to write your words. So if I take this as catch, see here, I'm just saying this as. Now, if I take this as continue, so see here, I'm just taking this exit. So like this. So in the same way for condense also, I'm just doing a tab. So tab above your caps lock, you can find out your tab letter, tab button. You have to use that one. And I'll just saying this as GV underscore variable. GV underscore variable. Now I'll go ahead and activate this one. And now if I click on execute, now F5, F5. So I'm going to GB variable. So here you will be getting your blank spaces. See here. Now if I take this as condense, see it has removed your blank spaces, and in the output also it will be just removed it, and it will be shown you in the output, in your output. So this is called as your condense. This is called as your condense statement. Any questions?
సార్
Yeah, Pawan.
సార్ అది క్యారెక్టర్ 10 అవ్వడం వలన స్పేస్ వచ్చింది సార్ అది
Right. Characters 10 వల్ల నీకు spaces వచ్చాయి. As the
ఓకే
character. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has been printed. There are 5 more spaces. I want to remove 5 more spaces. To remove that 5 more spaces, I have used this condense keyboard. Okay, clear?
ఓకే సార్ సార్
Yeah, Pawan.
ఒకవేళ అవుట్పుట్ 20 డిజిట్స్ వస్తే అప్పుడు రన్ టైం ఎర్రర్ ఇంకా రాదా సార్ మా కింద క్యాచ్ ఇచ్చాం కదా సార్
See, that's what. See, if you have used this catch, it will avoid that runtime error. That's it. It won't show you the output, but it will avoid. So now the user can know at least, so as the output is coming, but there is some issue. But if you are getting this runtime errors to a users will get panicked. You know the runtime error, what's error in that, but user doesn't know. So if there is a runtime error, they will be raising a high priority ticket, very critical high priority ticket. So that means we have to see that. But if you are not getting an output, then user will think that there is some bug in the code. So they will be raising it as low priority or a medium priority. So for this particular row, the value is not coming up. Can you please check why the reason? So that's what. But if it is a runtime error, so they can't able to see the output. If they can't able to see the output, that means they will be getting panic. So why? What is the reason why we are getting this type of errors? So data error is fine, but it should not show you your runtime errors, guys. Remember that, guys. So that's the reason we have to use this catches. So there are so many exceptions that are available. So every exception, so instead of that, what we will be using, we will be saying this as catch system exceptions. System exceptions into at the rate, I'll be telling this into data, something is a catch system exceptions, and you will be having something, so you have to use that one. So all your system exceptions will be gets catch. So any type of system exceptions is there, that will be gets catch over there. So but we usually write the exact exception so that the developer knows it, what is the exact exception that has been raised, what is the exact exception that has been raised, the developer knows it. So that's the reason we'll be writing the exact exceptions. Okay, so this is all about here. Any questions?
ఓకే సార్ థ్యాంక్స్ సార్
Yeah. Okay, so now let's see. As of now, we are passing the values explicitly. We are passing. Now the user is saying, can I have a input screen? Can I have an input screen so that I can pass the values? I can pass the values. Based on that, I need to see the output. Based on that, I need to see the output. So for this, we need to design a input screen. So for users to pass the values, for users to pass the values, we need to design an input screen. We need to design a input screen. So that input screen in SAP terminology, we will be calling it as the selection screen. That we will be calling it as the selection screen. So this selection screen is used to provide the values, to provide the values, to provide the users, so to help the users to provide the values in the input. Now to design the selection screen, we have four different options. The first one is your parameter, with the help of your parameter, and the second one is the select options, and the third one is the check boxes, and the fourth one is the radio buttons. Now coming to these parameters, so we can pass single value. One second. Yeah. So we can pass single values. In the input screen is called as your parameters. Now coming to your select options, we can pass a range of values. And we can put some conditions also. Like in the particular range, I want to skip 4 to 5 values. So let's say I want to get the data from 1 to 100. I want to get the list of sales orders from 1 to 100, out of which I don't want 35, out of which I don't want 35, 38 and 40, and from range 60 to 80. 60 to 80 also I don't need it. So these type of things you can able to do it with the help of your select options. Now coming to these check boxes and radio buttons, these are the interactions. So we can do the interaction on the selection screen. Interactions basically used for interactions on the selection screen. I'll always say this as selection screen. That means which is nothing but your input screen. As a SAP terminology, we have to tell this as your selection screen. One second. Okay, so these topics. So I will be covering the select options, the check buttons and the check boxes and radio buttons at a later point of time. So let's see about your parameters. So these are used to pass single value in the selection screen, as I mentioned you earlier. So how to define this select parameters? Shit, I didn't forget to save that. That's fine. So that's fine. I didn't forget to save that, but anyways, you have that in your things. So this is mainly used to pass. These are the actions that the user is going to perform on your selection screen, which I told you. So now coming to the parameters. So used to pass single values. In your selection screen. Now, how to define a parameter? So simple, you have to use a keyword called as parameters. And if you have multiple, you have to use semicolon. If you have single, you don't need to pass your semicolon. Sorry, you don't need to pass your colon. So now it has to be started with P underscore. The parameters will always has to be started with P underscore. And you have to provide your description, whatever the description you want, and you will be saying this as type, and you can provide your predefined type, predefined type, or you can provide your data element, or you can provide your table hyphen field, or you can provide your structure hyphen field. So this is how you have to create the parameters. So where we have to provide the parameters, where we need to, in which part of the code we have to provide this selection, right? This selection things, in which part of the code we need to provide these selection parameters, after the data declarations. The answer to this is after the data declarations, and before the main logic, and before the main logic. So in between that, you have to provide this selection screen things. In between that, you have to provide this selection screen things. That means here is a place where, so this is my data declarations and this is my main logic. Before this, you have to say selection screen design, selection screen design, selection screen design. Now I'll be taking this as parameters p underscore variable 1. I'll be taking this as type character 5, and then parameter p underscore variable 2 type character 5. So now if I say go ahead and save this, or else I'll do my pretty printer and I'll activate my code. When I click on execute, now you can see an input screen. So where the users can able to provide the values. Sorry for that. Where the users can able to provide the values. Now, by this, you know what is this parameter and what is this. Now, if I give it to the users can able to understand what is meant by p underscore variable 1 and what is meant by p underscore variable 2. So for this, we have to provide a proper name. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, sorry for that. So for this, we have to provide a proper name. How can you provide a name for your selection variables? So this is a variable, or this we'll be calling it as a selection parameter. For this, we have to provide a name. To provide this name, click on this text elements. If you are not able to see this button, click on go to and click on text elements and just say click on your selection text. So I can say this as value 1, and I can say this as your value 2. Now I'll just activate this one. So this is different, REPT, report text. So whereas this is, if you go ahead and say press enter, if I say activate, you can see this REPS, report to source code. So that's the difference between these two things, report to text and the report to source code. I am going to activate this one, and when I click on execute, now you can see here the value 1 and value 2 text has been populated. Now for the same thing you can also maintain your translations also. So go to, and if I say translation, and if I say to German, now you can see here we have seen this about your translations of your text elements. And the same way for your parameters also, you can maintain your translations. As we are running it for the very first time. Now, see here, the value 1. So if I go ahead and copy this one, and if I go to German to English to German, so I'll just pass this one. So WRET1. So this is the value. So I'm going to just say this one, and here also just say this one and save it. So now I'll go back and I'll activate this. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Someone has came. If I try to log on with my German, so let me open that with my German. So I'm going to take this as my user ID and password, and I'm going to give it as DE. And now if I say enter, and now if I go to SE38, and then I'll be saying this and click on execute. Now see here, it has been came up within your German language. So now these parameters are also helpful for creating a translations also, for creating of your translations. Okay, so now how to do this? So simple, I'll just comment this one, and instead of this one, I'll go ahead and comment this one. I'll just say parameter p underscore variable 1 plus p underscore variable 2. I'll go ahead and activate this one. So now if I go ahead and say execute, I'll just say, and now if I click on execute, see here, it has counted the value and it has shown you in your output. So this is how you have to use your parameter. So with the help of your parameter, I just provided this one. Okay. Now, so this is your requirement I have just provided you. So you can just take this up requirement, and this is the solution for it. I have just provided the solution also. So this is how you have to use your variables. Now at the same way, just give me 1 more minute. So this is with the help of your concatenations. Okay. Okay, I'll be starting giving this assignments from tomorrow onwards. Now, next see the next concept called as your structures. So structures, what is a structure? So variables is nothing but a single field, whereas A structure is nothing but the collection of fields, group of fields, collection of fields, or I can say this as your group of fields. How to create this structure and how to pass the values to the structure and how to display the values of the structure, that we will be seeing in your next class, which is happen tomorrow for 2 hours. So that's the end of today's session. Before I signing off for today's session, any other questions? Okay, I'll be considering it as no questions and we'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. Or I told you, right, I'll be pinging you at 9 o'clock if the class is at 10 o'clock. If you didn't receive a ping from my end, that means the class is at 10:30 only. Okay, so that's all for today and we'll meet you tomorrow again and we'll continue our session. Thank you all.